my name is Claudia and I just graduated with a diploma and I'm currently waiting to go to uni. With COVID-19, I can't help but wonder, what if my career becomes meh? As an aspiring journalist, I thought that I would dig deeper into this topic. To do that, I'm going to go speak with some youth and professionals to find out more. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me on this Zoom call. So I know that most of you are graduating this year, and I was just wondering, how has COVID-19 impacted your view on jobs and careers?
The biggest worry is just landing a job. I want to work overseas, especially like right now, and that's really difficult.
I've been trying to look for internships before I start my job in September, and a lot of employers have been getting back really slowly, almost to like no news.
Together with all my peers, just going for a lot of interviews and applying for a lot of things, having some progress in some jobs, like getting to final interviews and everything, and getting really disappointed at the end when they just said the listing is no longer available because we just can't afford to hire people anymore.
You're not sure whether you'll get laid off, and there's a lot of anxiety around it. Like, people are talking about pay cuts, people are talking about possibility of losing your job. And then as a junior creative and a junior art director, it's like, oh wow, I need to have so many skills during this period. You have to adapt because the company is adapting and they can't really help you to adapt.
My biggest concern right now amidst the uncertainty is whether I can still start a freelancing career without a university degree.
Anxieties arise when expectations are disrupted.
Well, that sounds pretty grim. So I spoke to some people who specialize in career design to find out more.
Hi, I'm JL and I co-founded My Working Title with Darlene. We help people in actively designing their careers. It is a tough year to graduate. Some of you may or may not get the ideal jobs that you want. Some of you may or may not get jobs. Yet, crisis can be the fuel for creativity. Many companies like Microsoft and Electronic Arts were born during recessions. So how might we be able to generate possibilities at such a time like this? According to Nordic research, it is a skill to be learnt. It is called possibility competence. Okay, I know that's a big word, but basically it's a skill of how can we generate options and be open. And this is a skill you will need for the rest of your career.
First of all, let's acknowledge that it's completely normal to feel anxious about our careers, especially during this time. You might think that you're the only one, but in reality, a lot of us are feeling stressed about this right now. Especially when you're just starting out, typically you only see the first mountain that's ahead of you. But a career is like a mountain range. There will be many mountains and valleys. And this isn't to scare you, but just to give perspective that careers can span 40 years, and it can take many different forms and directions.
So how exactly do we find these possibilities? To answer these questions, I spoke to a few HR professionals.
My name is Trisha Duran. I'm the head of HR for Unilever in Singapore.
I know I may not look like it, but I have about a decade and a half of work experience.
I'm Joanna Yeo. I'm a strategic HR and talent management practitioner for the last 25 years.
Hi, I'm Padilla. I'm from Generation. We're an international non-profit founded by McKinsey.
Recruiters or hirers or the employers, whether their standards of hiring have changed. Has the pandemic kind of changed or altered any of the expectations or any of their standards of hiring?
On reflection, in reality, what I've discovered is that top talent will always be there and we're always going to be in the lookout for it. Because this is the lifeblood of an organization. So whether or not there's COVID-19, there will always be a need to bring in top talent into our organization. So we will always be on the lookouts. So the people that can actually bring humanity virtually to life are the people that will do very, very well. The world is going digital, but it does not mean that we have to be robots. It actually means that we need to have a blended approach between going digital and being human. Because that's what we are in our essence.
Sectors in travel, lifestyle and entertainment have all been hit very badly. And these startups are either retrenching or closing down. However, we do see a shift and a growth in different areas, right? So, for example, in e-commerce, last mile logistics, digital payments, cybersecurity, telemedicine, all these areas are growing and there are still opportunities in that space. VCs or venture capitalists are still looking for good ideas to invest in, and recruiters are also still hiring.
Right, so COVID has brought opportunities. Okay, so I think a lot of different industries and companies, again, because of the nature of the impact of COVID, some naturally they've seen a lot more traffic or a lot more business. For example, in the e-commerce space, a lot of people are needing essentials. A lot of people are needing groceries, right? So I think the e-commerce space is one space that has really, really boomed. So to me, I think one way, like I mentioned, is the youth. If you understand that this has happened, then just think through what companies or what sort of industries are likely to in fact be much more needed or much more in demand during this period.
I think a lot of like companies and industries are kind of adapting to telecommuting and like the way that we work together as a group of people, like in teams. And I'm just like wondering like what they look for in like candidates of people applying for certain roles.
Eight out of the first 10 jobs are all requiring tech skills. All these require some level of programming or coding skills. Only 2 jobs, which are community and partnership specialists, don't require programming skills. Coding and programming is absolutely vital for you as you start your careers.
Well, through our work with different companies, while we do see that domain knowledge or technical skills are still important, we do see actually an increasing emphasis in more soft skills, in mindsets, and actually your ability to learn and pick up skills on the job itself.
Quite often, you are your own limit. We hire for attitude and behavior, and we train for skills. So when you create a CV, make it skills-based. So put the skills that you actually already have. And you might want to consider understanding what are the skills that the organization you're applying to is looking for. Typically, the trends in terms of future skills are things like demonstrating resilience. So how do you actually live your purpose on a day-to-day or share that with others? Or demonstrating an ability to be agile. So shifting from being fixed and looking for perfection to actually experimentation.
What can we do gainfully or fruitfully if we are not employed?
You can take this time to begin to tie it to digital. Even if what you love to do is something like dance or a musical instrument, you can totally tie that to digital, right? In terms of learning how to, set up a mic, doing the mixing on that, and then you'll be able to record and share what you're good at or what you love to do with the world, right? So I think whatever your passion is, begin to tie it to something digital during this period of time is another big way to be future ready and to begin to pivot. You can join the gig economy for sure, right? It's a good way to experiment. It's a good way to keep sharpening your skills. It's a good way to build your portfolio, as we just mentioned just now, right? So I think joining the gig economy, do things like Fiverr, or just even doing community pro bono work, right, is another way to continue to build your portfolio, as well as growing your network, which will increase your opportunities to get a job, as well as just building your portfolio again as well.
During this period of COVID-19, it is very difficult to find offline interactions. A lot of us are spending time online, but this is a perfect opportunity for you to find specialists in an area that you're interested to pursue and interact and reach out to them online. So for example, you're in journalism, right? So what you can do is when you find an article that impresses you, reach out to that journalist, ask for 15 minutes on a call, speak to them, ask them questions, and at the end of that call, ask them to refer you to one more person who will be able to help you. And slowly but surely, that is how you can build your network with specialists in your area of interest.
So there are many topics that are mandatory for corporations and society to work together on. For example, mental well-being, health and wellness, hygiene, financial wellness. So these are topics that corporations and society can work and collaborate together on. So get yourself working with your communities around these kinds of topics to really help around the community, because these are skills that corporations don't necessarily have. And so we would be looking for youth that actually can give us and bring to us those skills.
While this may not be a very desirable situation for many of you, I think it is quite a worthwhile time for you to take a step back and reassess your situation. Maybe if you've been feeling particularly stuck in an educational path or a career path that you may not be as interested in as you were before, this may be a good time for you to explore different options. I would advise that you try your hand at different things. You can try maybe digital animation, which is actually something that I'm trying right now. You can try doing a handstand. You can try learning a new language. And as you are trying these different things, notice the way that you respond to the different types of scenarios. So, for example, if you are facing a particularly challenging situation or facing time pressure in that task, notice the way that you are responding to that. And also conversely, notice the things that you are finding particularly enjoyable and that you don't mind spending long amounts of time doing. I think like what this helps to do is help to increase your self-awareness and self-assurance, so you know more clearly your strengths and your weaknesses, going into not just your career journey but also your life.
With options being more limited, whether I should just get any job and whether getting that faster is better than trying to wait it out for whatever ideal job that is.
I'm quite pragmatic. If your personal circumstances allow you some time, meaning that you have savings and you don't need to start, supporting your family, then I would say yes, take the time to search, take the time to develop yourself while you're waiting forward. So to me, if you can, be picky, because again, it's about making good choices when possible within the limitations that you have. So to me, I would say try manage expectations, meaning that you may not, the company that you've been dreaming of, just simply isn't hiring because they're the ones that are in the downturn because of COVID, right? So again, you have to write those off for this period of time, just to get the mindset that a lot of sectors, the definition of what they are is much broader than what you think. People would say that, okay, to get into e-commerce, I need to know coding, I'm like, no, absolutely not, because e-commerce is super broad. E-commerce is a huge chain. From the platform, marketing, legal, IT, all the usual sort of functions. But then we also have all this massive thing called the whole supply chain, which is all sorts of operational people, all sorts of planning people, all sorts of accounting people, right? So there's frankly opportunities everywhere if you're just willing to look or dig a little bit further.
Wow, I didn't expect to learn so much. I know the situation may not be very ideal right now, but what we can do is create our own opportunities and explore new possibilities. Meanwhile, to prepare myself, I want to gain experiences and skills that are in demand, like coding and adapting fast, create a digital portfolio, and learn more about my purpose and my strengths. You can click on this link for free resources to help you on your career journey. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with your friends. See you next time. Bye!